large development going to happen there called the Yard at Ivanhoe, and as the developer went to get his permits, he had to get the road permits from the county, and the county wouldn't give them to him. So this guy's sitting there waiting to do this huge development, everything's all demolished, and the county won't approve his permits. So we were able to finally get the county to give the city that road, so our developer could get permits. So that's moving forward now.
Cumulative voices sometimes can really help. So, are there any other questions?
I just like to clarify something.
Please.
You know, I was involved in the Soto district back when I worked in downtown South, and we started with the Main Street program, and 600,000 square foot of those businesses really was in my development portfolio. And when you met with the businesses and the residents, and as the district grew, we realized that when you take Orange Avenue, it ran to Division from Gore south to, I forgot.
Pilot?
It went south to Pilot. It butted up against Edgewater. What was it?
Hoffner?
Hoffner. Hoffner. So a lot of those industrial businesses on the west side of Orange and on the east side of Division, you've got the cement block place, and you've got the, whatever else they do. The salt, whatever. They were on septic tank still. No high-speed internet. And we're like, this is way bigger than the Main Street focus. Okay? We have no way of getting you, city services. A lot of those parcels were non-conforming parcels, so they went to expand the building, to grow the business. They couldn't do it. It just became financially infeasible. So this was way beyond a Main Street. So that's when we started a steering committee for the Neighborhood Improvement District. And we ran into issues there because of sunshine. Okay, so when you sit on an advisory board of the Neighborhood Improvement District, once it got voted in, and you're melding with the same people who are on a Main Street board, now you've got sunshine issues, right? So I had to step back from the Main Street, stick to the advisory, be separate, but not really. I can't tell you how many conversations I had with Kyle Shepard. Can I do this? Can I do this person this? Can I go here or this? But eventually, the business owners within that district voted to self-tax themselves for when improvements were made to Division or Cayley. While you're doing that, lay the sleeves for the wiring cables, or do your wireless, whatever you do, all at the same time so it's coordinated. Let's get plans for a master drainage so these people can, expand their businesses and make improvements to the lot. Have design standards in place so suddenly these parcels are not non-conforming, that they can do things, and it makes it, viable. So that was, I think, Soto district that didn't have those issues that other districts have. Our vision and our goals just became too far out of the box that we had, so hence the separation. But it hurts me that you don't like NIDS.
Well, the reason
so hard. Oh God.
I was gonna say, I'll clarify why I say that. There was misinformation when we did the NID of why we should do a NID, and NID stands for Neighborhood Improvement District. And the problem with the legislation, the statutes in Florida, with a NID is that it was set up to be a mechanism used by this federal grant fund called Safe Neighborhoods Act, which no longer exists. So you have all of this legislation to do this thing, to get this money that no longer exists. So the city tried to work with Tallahassee to rewrite the legislation, and that hasn't happened. Still hasn't happened. But what the city should have done was create a BID, a business improvement district, rather than a NID, because now they have to do a safe neighborhood plan and all of this stuff that really, it just has to do with the statute, and it really doesn't have to do with what we do. And the problem with the NID is it's not bondable. The money's not bondable. And so now we have to be creative because the whole area only generates about $600,000 a year currently. And so, we have probably $30 million worth of projects on the books, and it sunsets in 15 years. So if you do the math, there's no way to really fund those projects that we want to do. We kind of have to prioritize, pick and choose, use leverage money from other funding sources, all of that kind of creative financing stuff, where it would have been easier if we would have just done a bid, not have to worry about the safe neighborhood stuff, and actually be able to bond the money that we bring in. So, but you learn those lessons, but that's the only reason we don't like a NID. And the city's like, we're never going to do another one of these things. It's like, but I want bids. So we'll see. We'll
So
see.
Colleen, if we are involved in another city or county area that may have a similar issue, can we call on you?
Sure, absolutely.
Because, I mean, that mistake in itself costs everybody in the future.
Mhm.
And if you're the guru, we would love to be able to pick up the phone and call you if any of us are facing that, I think. Any other questions?
Which do you think has been your most successful?
That's so funny. I get that question all the time, and I tell everybody, it's like, even though I kid and I say all of my main streets are like herding cats, which they really are, but they're like my children. So it's like asking me, what's my favorite child? The best answer I can give you to that is it depends on what your definition of success is. So
I would say which area has come the furthest from whence it started? Because I think some of the areas had a leg up to begin with.
yes,
I'll
yes.
use College Park as an example.
College Park is an excellent example because they had an existing merchants association
Right.
that had been forever, like back from the 50s, and we kind of converted that to a Main Street, which I think literally saved it because I'm not a big fan of merchants associations. I've never known a merchants association that was totally successful because it's made up of merchants. But the reason Main Streets are successful is because merchants are just a part of it, and so it's not one group with tunnel vision. So College Park has not had as much change because they didn't have as many problems. It's really hard for me to not just because Jennifer's here, but it's really hard for me to not give a lot of kudos to Audubon Park, because when you saw Jennifer's map, they literally have like 45 businesses total.
We have 72 businesses,
72
and
now?
that includes like every office where the
Yeah.
person is never there. And that includes my office. So we have 72 businesses in our district, as opposed to Soto, which is 900, 1200,
Yeah,
something
so
like that.
it's, they're really small, and so it's kind of like David against Goliath, so to speak. Plus, when you factor in the issues that we've had with Corinne Drive in the county, and you factor in that all of her, whatever you call those plazas, I guess is what we call them, with her businesses, those are all like condoized. Every single one of those is owned by a different property owner, and they all own the parking area in front of their business, and they all fight. So they all put up signs, these 3 parking spaces are mine, don't anybody else park there, I'm gonna tow you. So, I mean, it makes it really, really difficult. And then now Orange County Public Schools is building a school, and we've had issues with that. So it's like, I think Audubon Park has faced probably the biggest issues, and they're the smallest. So, and of course, I am just a big fan of the GAMSA Award. I was the Main Street manager of the town I was in, was one of only 2 in the state of Ohio that won. And before Audubon Park won, we'd only ever had 2 winners in the entire state of Florida. So for us to win that award was really cool too. So I'm a big fan of that, but I will have to say that there are some of these areas in the city that we haven't seen a lot of physical changes. But I would have to say too that Mills 50, when I got here, I probably spent, oh my gosh, I want to say at least 3 or 4 months sitting in meeting after meeting of everybody just fighting over what we're going to call that area, which you think that's not a big deal, but to the people over there was a huge deal. So to go from having an area over there that had no identity and nobody knew what it wanted to be, to now what I'm a big business fan, so when I see that area that was pretty much vanilla, nothing over there, that it was just, oh, there's a lot of Asian businesses here, but we couldn't even get those business owners to talk to us. So it just kind of didn't have any vibe or feel or anything. And if you look at most of the really cool, independent restaurants that are coming to the city, they're either coming to Audubon Park or Mills 50. And Mills 50 has really just kind of, when they started doing the banners and the artwork over there, it just has this, now everybody, Jennifer talks about how much they were written up, Mills 52, they get written up all the time. The tourist stuff, the magazines that are in the airlines, all of that stuff, talk about Audubon Park and Mills 50. Without,
budgets
yeah.
or.
And without having any money to do streetscapes or capital improvements. I think, much to my chagrin, and I've talked to Pete about this, we were in the airport together over Thanksgiving, and I was, because you're like, I get very frustrated, because I go over to St. Pete, and St. Pete has 3 Main Street districts in their city, and when I talk to the guy that works for the city in St. Pete, he's like, oh yeah, we're doing our second streetscape over here. You know, we did the first one in our Main Street districts in the 80s, and I'm like, oh, I have streetscape envy. Like, we have no money to do capital improvements. And my counterparts in Boston and DC, their cities give their district a minimum. I think DC gives their districts $250,000 a year funding. Boston and Baltimore are over $100 grand that they give each district. And Boston and Baltimore have 19 and 22 districts, you know, so. And they do capital improvements and streetscapes out of the city's general fund for all of their districts, so.
And I think, the last time our city council this past year in October, they formally voted again to give us contracts for another year. Patty Sheehan said, I love the Main Streets, blah, 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 blah. She's always very supportive. She's not, Commissioner Stewart is ours. But it was interesting, she said the bulk of the great press that the city of Orlando gets comes out of the Main Street programs, which is absolutely true.
It is true.
That $35,000 a year is a bargain.
Yeah, it is a really good bargain, and I mean, we get less money for the Main Streets than what the city gives to what we call our EDOs, like the National Entrepreneur Center and the Hispanic Business Investment Fund and all of that. They get more money than our Main Streets do.
Well, for all the success, thank you all for all you're doing, really. And, cause a lot of us who lives in a Main Street area in the room? Well, come visit us in our Main Street.